Today's questioner asks, how do I stop stressing out over a problem when it always turns out that everything is fine? It sounds like you've developed the practice of jumping to the worst case scenario when faced with a situation where the outcome feels unknown. I'm going to make the assumption that if you had full control over these situations, you would be taking action to ensure they work out the way you want. So I'm going to answer this question with the assumption that the problems you tend to stress over are problems that are outside of your control or those that you only have partial control over. These could be situations where someone else is in control or partial control, or where the outcome is determined by forces of nature which are outside of anyone's control. Let's talk a little bit about what's behind this process. Fear is a powerful tool to keep you safe. It can also be a great big hypochondriac. Here's the deal. When you aren't sure what will happen, fear jumps in and helps craft possible outcomes so you can be prepared to keep yourself safe. This is great when a lion is approaching you in the middle of the savannah. Fear kicks in and warns you that the lion probably wants to eat you. You begin to look for places to hide and methods to escape from the lion. By quickly assessing all the possible outcomes, climb the tree and get eaten, stand still and get eaten, run away and get eaten, wedge yourself into that narrow crack in the rocks and be safe once the lion loses interest, you can find a way to survive. However, when the situation is out of your control or only partially in your control, and you've done what you can do to ensure a positive outcome, no amount of fear will keep you safe. These are situations like pending layoffs at your company or a friend or family member receiving a scary medical diagnosis. You can't problem solve your way out of these types of situations. Fear triggers your sympathetic nervous system or fight, flight, or freeze response. This results in a number of physiological changes, which include feelings of stress and anxiety. I'll link to a blog post in the show notes below where you can learn more about your nervous system. Okay, so now that we've covered the why, let's get back to your question, which is the how. First, take a moment and remember that while you might have a valid reason to worry, situations like this have happened in the past, and it's all worked out okay. Remember that while you're focusing on the negative potential outcome or outcomes, there are just as many positive potential outcomes. Try to take a moment and brainstorm all the ways this could work out well. Let's remember that fear lives in the future. It's the anticipation of what's to come. So a great way to stop stressing over a problem is to bring your attention and focus back to the present moment. There are two tools that I love for just this purpose. The first is the audible exhale. The second is the mindful moment. If you're a regular listener to Solicited Advice, you've probably heard me talk about both. These techniques take just a minute or two and are powerful tools to help you shift your attention away from the unknown future and back to the present moment. You can learn more about the audible exhale here, and I'll link to it in the show notes below, and the mindful moment here. Use one or both of these tools every time you find your mind wandering back to stress over a problem that's outside of your control. And even better, set a timer and use the audible exhale and or mindful moment every hour to help you reprogram your neural pathways to reside in the present, not the future or the past. Over time, you'll start to notice that by keeping your focus in the present, you avoid a lot of the stress, fretting, and worry about unknown future outcomes. I'm sending you a great big hug. You've got this. I hope you enjoyed this bit of solicited advice. Make sure you subscribe to my channel to be notified whenever I post new content.